Jay Z has officially been named in a Diddy lawsuit, and it is not looking good. We were warned that big-name celebrities were going to be called out over the course of Diddy's trial, and it seems that started with Jay Z being named in a suit. It was originally filed back in November, but at the time it was just Sean Combs, aka Diddy, that was named. The others were simply referred to as Celebrity A and B. The woman that has filed the suit has requested that she remain anonymous, so she is known as Jane Doe during the proceedings. The lawsuit alleged that Diddy and an unnamed additional male celebrity harmed Jane Doe inappropriately, while another, also unnamed, female celebrity watched. The plaintiff's story in the lawsuit was she attempted to sneak into Radio City Music Hall in 2000 for the MTV VMAs, but when she was unsuccessful, she ran into Diddy's driver. The driver told her to come back after the show, and when she did, he drove her to a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway. The plaintiff further claims that upon entering the home, she was presented with a non-disclosure agreement and asked to sign. Once inside, she claims there was widespread use of substances, and when handed a beverage, they were in there too. In a bid to find somewhere safe to rest, the plaintiff claims she entered an empty bedroom, and it wasn't long after she entered that the trio of celebrities allegedly followed. It was then that the multiple transgressions happened, ultimately halting when the plaintiff struck Diddy in the neck. She was able to eventually escape the house and return home, but the night left its mark. As reported by the Daily Mail, the lawsuit claims that the plaintiff fell into a deep depression which continues to affect every facet of her life. Diddy continues to assert his innocence. The Daily Mail obtained photos from this night that included music artist Jay Z, who is now officially named in this suit. I recently covered this lawsuit in another video back in November. Leaked Diddy party photos of Jennifer Lopez will change everything. At the time, the lawsuit only named Sean Diddy Combs. The other parties were simply unnamed celebrities. That has obviously changed. Jay Z's name has been revealed. However, we still don't know who the female celebrity was. There are 1,001 theories, of course, because that's what the internet does, but we still don't know for sure. So to clarify, just because I mentioned J-Lo a second ago, she was not named in the suit. That is the focus of this video. However, with the knowledge that we are still missing one piece of the puzzle, and that originally Jay Z was unnamed, it begs a couple of big questions. Why did she only name Diddy originally and wait to release Jay Z's name, and why hasn't the female celebrity's name been released either? Only Jane Doe and her legal team know for sure. However, Jay Z has given us some clues on his end. He claims that before his name was added to the mix, his lawyer received a letter about the suit. Allegedly, the letter was intended to blackmail him. It was described as a pre-litigation demand letter. The rapper claimed that he was asked for money, but Jane Doe's legal representation, Tony Busby, claimed that she asked for mediation and never sought financial gain. Busby did respond to Jay Z's claims in an amended complaint. This time, he accused Jay Z of conspiracy of harassment, bullying, intimidation against plaintiffs' lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff from naming Jay Z. So from all that, it's looking like Jay Z's name was initially kept in the dark because they were trying to work things out behind closed doors, but everything went sour, and that's why it's all in the open now. Other than the female celebrity's name, of course. There is a possibility we'll never know who it was. In the event that the same stages were taken with Celebrity B as they were with Celebrity A, there is a chance everything was settled behind closed doors, and we will forever be left to wonder. The suit did say that the female celebrity didn't actually do anything to the plaintiff, she just watched, but that's also not great. The original lawsuit was filed back in October. It's unclear if Jane Doe's legal team also would have sent a letter to Combs' lawyer in advance, like how they did to Jay Z's, or if they simply would have just filed the suit, considering there were already so many against Diddy already. Jay Z is adamantly denying pretty much everything the suit is accusing him of. He has shared that the allegations are causing strain in his personal and family life, as his daughter, Blue Ivy, is old enough to likely hear this information, and she's almost the age the woman in the suit was when the incident happened. Jay Z is now calling for a name to be revealed, and it's Jane Doe's. She has wanted to remain anonymous since the filing of the suit. However, Jay Z wants to know who is accusing him. Jay Z claims that the accuser should not be allowed to tarnish his name while hiding her identity. His attorney called the whole situation a shakedown and said that if Jane Doe isn't revealed, it would deny Mr. Carter the fundamental right to confront his accuser while simultaneously enabling plaintiff and her counsel to conduct a trial by by media. In a Monday filing, Jay Z and his legal team have called for a judge to order that Jane Doe either reveal herself or the lawsuit gets dropped. However, Jane Doe likely has a good reason to keep her name under wraps. Tony Buzbee spoke on behalf of her and the over 200 clients with claims against Diddy that his firm represents, and explained why it's so important for them to be anonymous. He claimed that about 80% of those that he is representing during this Diddy case have told the firm that Diddy has warned them to keep quiet or something bad would happen to them and or their loved ones. Who knows if he meant it, but better safe than sorry. Keeping your name out of the headlines also ensures that you don't get hounded by the press day in and day out. Famous and rich rapper Jay Z can afford security. We don't know what Jane Doe's lifestyle looks like or if it would be safe for her in that sense. Buzbee spoke to a federal judge Sunday, during which he stressed the importance of his client remaining anonymous for protection's sake. Jay Z did release a statement in which he accused Jane Doe's representation, Buzbee, of exploiting people for personal gain. He called the claims against him idiotic, and if there weren't young people involved, laughable. But somehow this all gets even more dramatic. Buzbee shared that he actually expected Jay Z to attempt to unmask Jane Doe and would be filing a response when the time was right, which will probably be soon. But he also dropped another bombshell claim just to shake things up. Apparently, Buzbee was sued in November by an unnamed celebrity. We know it was a man because they sued under the name John Doe. Since the first filing with Diddy's name happened in October, the timeline would line up for Buzbee to have enough time to contact Jay Z's lawyer and then for them to sue in response. Of course, this is all alleged as Buzbee doesn't even know who it was, so I certainly won't pretend to know for sure either. Buzbee did relate this case to the one making the headlines now, saying, "He sued me under a pseudonym but files a motion to reveal the victim." Despite the high-profile nature of this case, Jay Z is still out making public appearances. He was spotted on a red carpet shortly after the news broke of the incident from the early 2000s. The red carpet in question was Disney's Mufasa. The live-action prequel to The Lion King stars Beyonce and their daughter Blue Ivy, so that is why he was there. There to support his family. It is his daughter's big day. However, considering the circumstances, many people have shared online that they think he should not have gone, or at least stayed off the red carpet. That maybe he should have sat this one out. One ex-user said that the rapper had nerve showing up like that, another agreeing with the response, "No shame." Another popular rapper is even lending his keyboard to the drama. 50 Cent has been closely following the Diddy allegations and case and commenting at every chance he gets. Having Jay Z roped into it all now, it was only a matter of time before a post hit Instagram. The post has since been deleted, but of course, there are screenshots. He posted a picture of the family on the red carpet with a caption directly referencing the allegations against Jay Z. It basically said, "Oh, I got accused of this really awful thing, time to go to the movies." That's like a very PG translation of the actual caption. Truly, it seems the public loves 50 Cent for keeping it real and never shying away from throwing in his 2 cents, or should I say 50, a bad joke for me, but he does have a lot to say at all times. One ex-user even said that at this point, 50 Cent is the only trustworthy news source. He's even helping create a Netflix documentary about this whole situation. Not much is known past the fact that Netflix will stream it. We know it will be primarily about Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend and one of the first and most public of the suits against the disgraced rapper. The doc will be an episodic series, and all proceeds will go towards victims of inappropriate violence. When 50 Cent confirmed the bidding war was won by Netflix in a since deleted Instagram post, he also claimed that if more victims keep coming out, he's gonna need more episodes, so there is potential that the doc will end up covering way more than it originally bargained for, especially since Diddy's trial hasn't even happened yet. It's set for a May 2025 start. But what do you think? Let us know, and if you want more Jay Z, check out Jay Z and Beyonce warning signs we should have seen coming. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Now Beyonce is going on tour again, and fans are so upset about her ticket prices. The average price for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour is between $70 and $400, but fees can add a lot to the cost. Now VIP packages range from $732 to $2,958, which is honestly just insane, especially since the VIP package doesn't include a meet and greet. Now fans are now furious over this, which I feel like they have every right to be. Beyonce, what are those prices? Oh, London Bayhive, it's so over. F you, Ticketmaster, one person tweeted, while another said, Beyonce, you must be pranking the world with these ticket prices, what the heck. Fans also complained because her tickets from her last tour were cheaper. Now some people even joked that the prices went up after her Grammy win. Then, of course, with all ticket sales, scalpers got some, and the resale prices are crazy. It should honestly be illegal. Beyonce's team should do something about it because it's honestly not fair, and I see why Beyonce fans are upset with her, because her net worth is an estimated $826 million. She doesn't need to be hurting her fans like this at all. Now, in October, Beyonce was faced with controversy after speaking at one of Kamala Harris's rallies in Texas. Amber Rose called her out for stealing her speech from the Republican National Convention. Amber Rose claimed that Beyonce wants to so badly be like her that she literally stole her whole speech. Both Beyonce and Amber Rose put an emphasis on motherhood in their speeches, while Beyonce declared her identity as a mother who is concerned about the world for her children. Now, Amber posted about this on Instagram. She wanna be me so bad, literally took my whole speech, she said. Now her comment was further followed by an eye-rolling emoji. Now despite some similarities, neither Beyonce nor her team have responded to any of the allegations made by Amber Rose, but a lot of people think that Amber was reaching and that Beyonce doesn't even know or care about who she is, but this did cause a stir on social media. Now, Beyonce has also faced some controversy over some of her lyrics. In August 2022, Beyonce announced that she would change the lyrics to her song Heated, following backlash from disability rights activists. Now, the track includes the line "spazzin' on that," which features a slang term derived from the word spastic. Now, activists argue that the word is considered a slur among people with cerebral palsy. The word, not used intentionally in a harmful way, will be replaced, her team said in a statement at the time. Now, the line was replaced, but this wasn't the only time people have had an issue with her lyrics. Beyonce's 2013 song Partition includes the lyrics, "He popped all my buttons and he ripped my blouse. He Monica Lewinsky'd all over my gown." Now, Monica has actually spoken out about how she doesn't like the lyrics by saying, "Thanks Beyonce, but if we're verbing, I think you meant Bill Clinton'd all on my gown," she wrote in a 2014 essay for Vanity Fair. And hey, I can't really blame her for being upset either. Of copying Italian singer Lorella Carcanini and a performance she did 1 year prior in 2010. Now, Beyonce later explained that she was inspired by Lorella, adding that she had no intentions of stealing her stunning visuals. But this just confirmed that she did see her performance, making it clear that she did steal it. Now, there wasn't much backlash after this, but shortly after in 2016, she was sued in court by an artist claiming that she stole visuals for her Lemonade album from a short film. Beyonce, Sony, Columbia, and the pop stars Parkwood Entertainment were all sued by indie filmmaker Matthew Folks. Matthew claimed that Beyonce stole 9 different scenes from his short film and claimed that he sent Parkwood Entertainment the short film, so he knows that several employees who worked on Lemonade had access to it. Now, 1 month after his June 2016 filing, Beyonce's attorneys hit back, arguing that the visuals did not fall under copyright infringement. Now, they also argued that the narrative was completely different. In the end, US District Judge Jed Rakoff agreed, dismissing the suit in September 2016. Now we have the time that Beyonce disrespected all of her fans who were a part of the LGBTQ community. Now, Beyonce performed in Dubai on January 21st, 2023 at the opening of the Atlantis, the Royal Luxury Hotel. Now, the concert was her first live performance in over 4 years, and despite a strict no phones policy at the exclusive 1,500 seat gig, footage of the show flooded the internet. Now, fans were happy about her comeback, but they weren't happy with where she was performing. You see, Dubai has strict laws against same-sex relationships, and Renaissance, her latest album at the time, which she performed, had been celebrated for honoring Black queer culture and taking inspiration from LGBT icons. So with that in mind, and her performing in a place that is directly against that, people were upset. Also, it's not like she needed the money. It was reported that she was paid $24 million for this gig, which again, she didn't really need. A lot of fans were hurt by her actions and called her out, which I think is completely valid. Then, there were multiple times Beyonce was straight up disrespectful in her music and performances. The song EXO from Beyonce's 2013 album begins with audio of NASA's officer talking about a major malfunction involving the Challenger space shuttle, which exploded just over a minute after its launch. 7 astronauts passed away in the tragic incident, so it seemed a little insensitive for Beyonce to use the audio in her song. Now, she was called out for this, and in a statement to ABC News, she tried to explain that she intended for the audio to be a tribute to those who passed away aboard the Challenger. "My heart goes out to the families of those lost in the Challenger's disaster," she said at the time. The song EXO was recorded with the sincerest intention to help heal those who have lost loved ones and to remind us that unexpected things happen, so love and appreciate every minute you have with those who mean the most to you. The songwriters included the audio in tribute to the unselfish work of the Challenger crew with the hope they will never be forgotten, she said. But this was just unnecessary to have in the song, and it was just a strange way to so-called honor them. Now, another performance Beyonce was called out for was when she took part in a 9/11 memorial concert in New York City. She performed her song Diva, which wasn't the right choice at all, as one of the lyrics include "No passengers on my plane," as well as "This is a stick-up," which she fiercely sang in front of all the families of 9/11 victims while putting her arms out like an airplane. Yeah, now whoever greenlit this performance is crazy, because why would they think that was okay? It was just in poor taste, and people are disgusted that she did that. And finally, we have Beyonce's connection to Diddy and everything that happened with her husband Jay Z. Now, Beyonce and Jay Z were very good friends with Diddy, who's now been arrested and is facing huge charges due to some disgusting criminal activity he took part in. Now, this has made many people question whether Beyonce took part in or knew about any of the illegal activities that Diddy was doing. I mean, she and Jay trusted Diddy so much they would play their unreleased music at his parties, the very parties where most of Diddy's crimes took place. Now, in December of 2024, Jay Z was named in a lawsuit filed against Diddy, where a woman going by Jane Doe claimed that she was mistreated and taken advantage of by both Jay Z and Diddy in the year 2000. She said she went to a house party with many celebrities who were there, and she claimed she was given a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and she felt like she needed to lie down. So she went into a room to rest, and shortly afterward, the suit says Diddy and Jay Z entered the room, with Diddy saying, "You are ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Now, this suit was later dropped due to pressure from Jay Z, but the whole thing is just suspicious. Beyonce never addressed this and still attended public events with Jay Z after he had been accused of these horrible acts.
Fans are done with Beyonce. Yes, you heard that right. The Beyhive is starting to feel the lingering fatigue of Queen Bee herself, and she's officially canceled. Reason number 1, overexposure. Now, before I dive into the reasons behind this fatigue, let me make it clear that she is undoubtedly one of the most talented in recent years, though Beyonce has been everywhere. Beyonce has faced criticism for overexposure and oversaturation, particularly in the mid-2010s. Critics argue that her constant presence in the media and her prolific output of music and performances have led to fatigue and decreased interest in her brand. She's released several albums, gone on tour, performed at countless award shows, and even launched her own activewear line. While it's understandable that she wants to stay relevant and capitalize on her success, the sheer volume of her output has started to feel overwhelming to some fans. When you're constantly bombarded with Beyonce's music videos, and endorsement deals, it's only natural to start feeling a little fatigued. Lack of authenticity. Another reason why some fans may be feeling tired of Beyonce is the perception that she's become too calculated and manufactured. With the rise of social media, it's become increasingly easy for celebrities to curate a perfect image of themselves, and Beyonce is no exception. While she's always been known for her polished performances and music videos, some fans feel that she's lost touch with her roots and is now more focused on maintaining a flawless public image than creating genuine art. One person on social media said, "Sometimes I do feel like the only thing Beyonce doesn't have that Prince and Madonna and MJ etc. did have is a consistently high quality discography. Everything else seems impressive. Her dedication, perfectionism, and ambition is absolutely the stuff of legend, but she doesn't yet have the collection of music to back it up, I feel. In time she will, I'm sure of it." Another person said, "She is quite overrated in my opinion. She's a good and occasionally great artist, but in recent years it seems like people and critics have been praising and revering her as highly, as artists like MJ, Prince, Bowie, and Madonna were praised in their heyday. I think people want another huge legendary pop star that can be looked back on as one of the greatest to ever do it, but in my opinion, Beyonce just doesn't quite cut it. That said, she is an amazing performer." Unrelatability. Beyonce's music and public persona have always been centered around themes of female empowerment, love, and self-discovery. However, as she's grown older and more successful, some fans have started to feel like they can't relate to her as much as they used to. Her music has become more experimental and avant-garde, which may appeal to some fans, but not to others. Additionally, her luxurious lifestyle and high-profile marriage to Jay Z have made her seem increasingly out of touch with the everyday concerns and struggles of her fans. One person online came to her defense and said, "This is a very unpopular opinion, but I feel like the relatable criticisms are from people that want to be nosy as well as find something very negative about her in order to be sanctimonious and sit in their high horse." Now it's a cycle of, let's trauma bond all the while I'm going to silently judge you and think highly of myself for this one little thing. I've already seen people do this with Kiki, Cardi, Megan, Nicki, and several others, because let's face it, the little bit of information that we know about her is stuff that is relatable. Someone actually agreed with this person saying, "I agree with you. What's funny is there is a lot we know about her personal life. Obviously it's not everything, but we know about her infertility issues, marriage troubles, babies in the NICU, parents' divorce issues, injuries, etc. A lot of these things are plenty significant and relatable, but people ignore that because it's not really about relating, it's about judgment." Overemphasis on visuals. In recent years, Beyonce has placed an increasing emphasis on visuals in her music and live performances. While her music videos and concerts are undoubtedly stunning and meticulously, choreographed, some fans feel that she's prioritizing style over substance. With the rise of streaming services and social media, it's become easier than ever for artists to just focus on creating visually striking content that generates buzz and goes viral. However, this approach can sometimes come at the expense of meaningful lyrics and genuine emotional connection. Unrealistic expectations is another reason. I mean, some fans may be feeling tired of Beyonce because they've placed unrealistic expectations on her. Beyonce has been accused of cultural appropriation. Beyonce has faced criticism for cultural appropriation, particularly in her music videos and performances. Her 2018 Coachella performance was criticized for borrowing heavily from historically black colleges and universities' culture without proper understanding, credit, or compensation. Use of African culture. Beyonce has been accused of using, African culture as a prop, particularly also in her music videos and performances. Some fans have also criticized Beyonce for not adequately representing the cultures she appropriates, now leading to accusations of exploitation. At the time of the Super Bowl in February of 2024, Beyonce released 2 new singles that sounded a little different than her usual stuff. One of those 2 singles called, Texas Hold'em went on to #1 on the Billboard Hot Country chart and eventually #1 on just the Billboard Hot 100. In late March of that year, Beyonce followed up with the release of her new album Cowboy Carter that featured artists like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton. The outrage was not far behind though. There were some who suggested that since Beyonce was, a black artist, she had no business messing around with country music. There were others who suggested that Beyonce was purposefully, making a mockery of a sacred genre. And yet even others suggested that this was a clear example of the dreaded, cultural appropriation that gets tossed around like a yo-yo with the worst possible timing. The reality is though that Beyonce was born and raised in Texas and her mother is a Texas native and her father's from Alabama. It wouldn't be a stretch to understand that Beyonce grew up listening to some high quality country music, all her life. Music industry controversies. There's been a lot of accusations of Beyonce stealing ideas. Beyonce has faced accusations of stealing from other artists, including Khalees and Destiny's Child's former manager Matthew Knowles, who is also, of course, her father and her ex-manager. Now, the Milkshake singer called out Beyonce, as well as producers Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo, for sampling her 2003 single on the song Energy, allegedly without her permission. Khalees claimed, via Instagram in July 2022, saying, "My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding. I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity and they have everyone fooled." Though neither Beyonce nor her team publicly commented on Khalees' post, the sample appeared to be removed from the Spotify version of Energy in early August 2022, although it can still be heard on Apple Music, so give it a listen. So a lot of sampling without permission has been speculated many times, and Beyonce has been accused of sampling another person's song without permission, a Nigerian singer, Tiwa Savage. Now, there was also a lawsuit over Formation. Allegedly, Beyonce was sued by the estate of Anthony Barr, a New Orleans-based YouTube personality, over the use of his voice and likeness in her song Formation. Now, in 2025, Beyonce won the Grammy for Best Country Album for her album Cowboy Carter, becoming the first Black woman to win in that category. However, some fans and critics said that other nominees were more deserving. In August 2022, Beyonce announced that she would change the lyrics to her song Heated, following backlash from disability rights activists. The track includes lines in the song which features a slang term derived from the word spastic. Now, activists argued that the word is considered a slur among people with cerebral palsy. Her team said in a statement at the time, "The word, not used intentionally in a harmful way, will be replaced," but many just called her to be cancelled after that. Beyonce's personal life controversies have taken a toll on her reputation also, and they're making people just tired of her. Jay Z's, infidelity. Beyonce's husband admitted to his infidelity in his 2017 album 444, leading to speculation about the state of their marriage. There was also, the rumors of a fake pregnancy. Remember when some fans accused Beyonce of faking her 2011 pregnancy with Blue Ivy, sparking a very heated debate, which of course, mostly stemmed from that interview that she did in Australia, where people saw her stomach fold like a frisbee. Now, her feud with Kim Kardashian is also problematic. Beyonce and Kim have been rumored to have had a feud, with some speculating it's over Jay-Z's friendship with Kanye West. Now, last but not least, her business controversies have taken a toll and called many people to want her to be canceled this year. To start, her Ivy Park clothing line. Beyonce's Ivy Park clothing line faced a lot of criticism for its high prices and lack of diversity in its marketing. Not to mention, it was reported that these fits were being made by workers who were getting paid like next to nothing. So basically a sweatshop. Workers actually told The Sun that all they do is work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep. Ivy Park denied the allegations, claiming to have an ethical trading program, factory inspections and audits, and all is good, allegedly.
Beyonce and Jay Z aim for protection when it comes to their careers, but it is the same for their personal lives, as employees must follow their strict rules, like keeping Bey's dressing room at 78 degrees, and that employees must read a huge handbook that Beyonce wrote herself. Now, we know that Beyonce says that a diva is a female version of a hustler, but it seems like she has some pretty specific demands when it comes to her dressing room when she performs. According to Business Inside, Beyonce's dressing room must be 78 degrees at the start of a performance or anytime she's in the room. Now, I guess the warmth helps her vocal cords, but staff also have to make sure that she has all white furniture, Irish soap from Walgreens, and perfectly scented grapefruit candles, or at least something similar. Why all this? Well, she appears to have a pre-show ritual that includes a stretch, a prayer, and an hour of alone time with her favorite playlist. So it seems like her dressing room setup helps with all of that. And then when she gets off stage, she needs to have at least 2 towels in her dressing room, one for her face and one for her body. Now, she also requests that there be a large table in the dressing room with white table covers so she can eat after her performance. Now, this isn't as crazy as some other celebrities' demands, but it still is shocking. But when it comes to extremes, Beyonce has a handbook for her employees to guide them on what exactly she expects from them. Many sources explain that each employee must read the handbook and sign a contract. Now Blue Ivy, for example, has her own handbook, The Daily Program of Blue Ivy, as per Miss Carter. Now it seems like Beyonce doesn't play when it comes to people taking care of her family. Now this rulebook includes how she wants her children to be taken care of. At one point, there were 6 nannies for the twins and 2 for Blue when needed. For the twins, who were born in 2017, each nanny worked in a span of 8-hour shifts around the clock, as according to Beyonce at the time, the twins had separate sleeping patterns. Now when Blue Ivy was younger, she required 3 nannies as well, but now that she's older, they've employed 2 instead of 3. It really seems like Beyonce and Jay Z really want their kids to have the best care they can get, and I don't blame them. Now in 2018, it was revealed that Blue Ivy's personal chef described Blue as a picky eater. According to him, her favorite dish was whole wheat pasta shaped like ballet dancers and pureed asparagus. Then we found out that Blue was not allowed to listen to music during nap time, and that she also must learn another language. It's been reported that Blue has already started learning a variety of different languages, but Beyonce and Jay Z want her to be fluent in more than 2 languages by the time she's 18. According to a source who's in with the family, Beyonce and Jay have had 2 major job requirements for their nannies. They have to be happy to travel the world with the Carters, and the other main stipulation is that they must be bilingual. They want a French speaker for a number of reasons. The family has a real connection with France, and Beyonce's nephew Jules is a French speaker because his dad is French. Now it's also been said that since Beyonce requires her nannies to travel with her, a detailed understanding of how to navigate Brooklyn is important. She wants her caregivers to know where the best attractions, museums, and shops are for her children, but also how to get around in ways that will attract as little as attention as possible. Not to mention, at one point, Blue Ivy got to school via her important entourage of security guards and drivers. Now Blue's entourage included 2 drivers and 3 bodyguards. Yep. Now other parents from the school had actually complained, saying that she has too many drivers and guards as they take up all the space and make it complicated for other parents to have a place to stop. Some complained that other celebrity children attend the school as well, but they only have 1 car and 1 driver. But I guess things are different when Beyonce is your mom. People on Beyonce and Jay Z's team have to be able to keep a secret. I mean, if you work for any celebrity, you have to have discretion, but you have to be extra careful working for the music's most famous couple. For example, Beyonce released a surprise album in 2016. Now of course, people on the team had to keep it a secret. Not to mention that the album features vocals from Kendrick Lamar, Jack White, James Blake, and The Weeknd. With this many people involved, there probably had to be a lot of NDAs signed, but at the end of the day, it was a surprise, so everyone had the secret well kept. Then there was also the fact that Beyonce kept her first pregnancy a secret. At the VMAs in 2011, Beyonce was a performer. She addressed the crowd before her performance of Love on Top, saying, "Tonight I want you to stand up on your feet. I want you to feel the love that's growing inside of me." Now at the end of the song, she dropped the mic, unbuttoned her purple sequin blazer, and started rubbing her belly. She was pregnant. Now Beyonce later told Harper's Bazaar that the reveal was not a spur-of-the-moment decision. She said, "I put a lot of thought in how I wanted to unveil it. It was important to me that I was able to do it myself. I was extremely nervous. It was the toughest red carpet I ever did. I decided to say nothing and proudly show my baby bump. I felt it was more powerful to see the love and enthusiasm as opposed to saying anything." Now, due to this, it became one of the most iconic baby reveals in pop culture history. So just imagine if someone spoiled this. It wouldn't have been that amazing. And I mean, the gender of her baby was actually accidentally revealed by one of her friends, Kelly Rowland. Speaking to Bang Showbiz in 2011, Kelly predicted Jay Z was going to buy that little girl every single thing possible, inadvertently revealing to the world that the couple had a daughter on the way. Speaking about it later, Kelly said that Beyonce was disappointed about the ordeal. "I felt terrible because it's not my news," Kelly said. "It was honestly the worst. It wasn't my news to share." Now, that was her friend who did that. But if you were an employee who did that, oh, I'm sure you'd be fired right on the spot. But yeah, if you're on her team, you'd have to keep the biggest secrets and not tell a soul. Now, Beyonce likes everything to be perfect, and this includes her looks. She's a perfectionist in everything in her life and likes to have total control. Now, in 2015, a picture went viral from a red carpet event of one of Beyonce's staff members being seen trying to adjust her dress. Now, the staff member was none other than her personal assistant, Jane Greenberg. It was during the title red carpet event that Jane tried to fix Beyonce's dress multiple times, But Beyonce didn't like this though, as you could tell by her demeanor. Then Beyonce actually whispered, "Stop it," and Jane left her dress alone, moving away from the cameras and giving Beyonce back the spotlight. But I mean, she was just trying to help. Now, someone who can't help the couple though are people who worked with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Now, when Kim and Kanye were still married at one point, they were really good friends with Beyonce and Jay Z. But then things changed. Kanye got on stage during one of his performances and basically made a shout out to Jay Z saying he should call him after all this time. Then he went further by calling out Beyonce for not performing beside him at the 2016 MTV Video Music Awards. Kanye then got upset when the couple didn't call him or Kim after Kim got robbed in Paris. Then more recently, Kanye's political beliefs strayed very far away from what Jay Z and Beyonce believe, so they also didn't get along due to that. So slowly over the years they ended up distancing themselves, which, hey, I can't really blame them for. Although Beyonce and Kim have never been friends, through the years they've both been accused by the media of throwing shade at each other. Now, it's also been said that the family will pay you well, but only if you actually work hard and earn it. Jay Z gave all of his employees $50,000 right before Christmas and gave them Christmas gifts as well in 2013. Combined throughout the year, the couple gave up to $4.6 million in bonus money and gifts, which is super generous. Jay Z is also known to tip big pretty much anywhere he goes, which is good because a lot of celebrities can be cheapskates. Now, one time he spent $80,000 on a friend's birthday party where staff and everyone else invited all enjoyed dinner and drinks on him. Now, Beyonce, on the other hand, is sometimes more reluctant to give away money so freely, but maybe she should take note of her husband's caring ways. Jay Z and Beyonce have a 12-year age gap, and they met when Beyonce was really young. Now, it seems like the couple can't make up their minds about how old she was when they met. Not to mention, whenever Jay Z is asked about their first time meeting, he gets extremely nervous. Now, Jay Z has a history of going for younger girls, so it really has people wondering if they're lying about when they met to make Jay look less creepy. Not to mention that he's very possessive over her.
About to go to sleep. So, I'm in Ethiopia.
In 2003, Beyonce released the song Baby Boy featuring Sean Paul. It was a huge song but was only performed live 3 times. That year, Jay Z reportedly banned Sean Paul from performing the song with Beyonce at the VMAs. Beyonce performed it, but Sean was in the crowd. Now, Beyonce and Sean didn't even film the music video together, as it's been reported that Jay Z didn't want other men around her. Now, this isn't the first time something like this has happened, as in an interview, Bun B, who worked with Beyonce on Check on It, revealed that Jay Z called during the video shoot and told all the men to leave the set. Now, it just seems like he's really controlling of her, which is not a good thing at all. Now, of course, we have to talk about the elevator incident. At the 2014 Met Gala, a fight broke out between Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, and Jay Z, while the 3 of them were in an elevator. Now, the footage leaked and Beyonce just stood there the whole time, and honestly, it was kind of funny. Now, after it was leaked, the family put out a statement saying Jay and Solange each assume their share of responsibility for what has occurred, the May 2014 statement read. They both acknowledge their role in this private matter that has played out in the public, they both have apologized to each other, and we have moved forward as a united family. At the end of the day, families have problems, and we're no different. We love each other, and above all, we are family. We've put this behind us and hope everyone else will do the same. But it was rumored that Solange attacked him because of cheating rumors. Now, these were just rumors until Beyonce released her album Lemonade in 2016. So Beyonce dropped a full album, Lemonade, complete with an entire film of visuals, on April 23, 2016. Now, on the album, she essentially confirmed that Jay Z cheated on her, opening with the lyric, "You can taste the dishonesty, it's all over your breath," and at other points she simply asks, "Are you cheating on me?" After the release of Lemonade, Beyonce made several public appearances solo, including the Met Gala and the VMAs, where she performed a medley from Lemonade, though she did meet up with Jay Z at the after party. Now, one of the most shocking lyrics from her album though was, "He only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." Now, this prompted fans to look for this so-called Becky. Now, fashion designer Rachel Roy has been thought of as the #1 person to be the woman Jay Z had an affair with. Now, nothing has ever been confirmed, but looking at all the evidence, it is very plausible. plausible. Now, Rachel has a long history with Jay Z's business enterprise, Rocawear, so the timing and opportunity would align. Now, when Beyonce released her album Lemonade, she finally confirmed that Jay Z cheated on her, and she said it was the Becky with the good hair. Now, that same day, Rachel posted on Instagram with the caption, "Good hair, don't care, but we'll take good lighting for selfies or self-truths always. Live in the light, hashtag no drama queens." Now, this upset a lot of people, and her comments were flooded with hate. Now, she eventually made her account private and eventually did delete the post. Now, Rachel made a cryptic post days before Cowboy Carter, Beyonce's recent album, was released. In an Instagram post, Rachel posted a quote by Albert Einstein, "Stay away from negative people, they have a problem for every solution." Now, the phrase "good hair" has re-emerged though after Beyonce released Cowboy Carter. "Hey Miss Honeybee, it's Dolly P," country legend Dolly Parton says in an interlude called Dolly P, which led into a reimagined cover of Jolene. "You know that hussy with the good hair you sing about? Reminded me of someone I knew back when, except she has flaming locks of auburn hair, bless her heart, just a hair of a different color, but it hurts just the same." So, is Rachel so-called Becky? A lot of people think so. Then, in 2017, Jay Z admitted to cheating on Beyonce, he just didn't say with who. He told the New York Times Teen magazine, "You know, most people walk away, like the divorce rate is like 50% or something because most people can't see themselves," he said. "The hardest thing is seeing pain on someone's face that you caused and then you have to deal with yourself. So you know most people don't want to do that, you don't want to look inside yourself, and so you walk away." Now, the couple eventually worked through everything and are still together today, but with breaking news of Jay Z committing crimes with his friend Diddy, will Beyonce stand by him? Earlier this month, Jay Z and Diddy were named as defendants in a civil lawsuit that accused them of taking advantage of a girl who identified as Jane Doe, who claimed that the incident happened at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party in the year 2000. When the lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, only Diddy was listed as defendant. It listed a male and female celebrity, but the names were not revealed. It was then refiled by Texas-based attorney Tony Busby on December 8th to include Jay Z. Now, in addition to denying the accusations, Jay Z has since asked the court to dismiss Jane Doe's civil lawsuit for lack of subject matter jurisdiction due to the plaintiff's lack of standing. Now, Jay Z's lawyer Alex Bureau is setting the record straight on his client's relationship with Diddy though. Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, he told Us Weekly and other reporters during a roundtable with press on Monday, December 16th at Roc Nation's New York City offices. Just like in all professions, people know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. If you go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's how professions work. There's no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. Now, he also gave a presentation with slides detailing alleged holes in the accuser's story. It's obvious to everyone that Mr. Carter did not do this, Alex said. Obviously, Jay Z did not do this, but what I want to do today is just sort of walk you through some of this so that you can see the truth and you can see what happened yourselves. You can see here now that this is starting to unravel and the truth is coming out, he alleged, adding that the lawsuit attacks a man with the integrity of Mr. Carter. Now, days after refiling the lawsuit, Jay Z attended the movie premiere of Mustafa, The Lion King, which his wife and daughter have roles in. Now, this shocked a lot of people that he was out in public already. Sources with direct knowledge told the Post that before the allegations, it was rumored that Jay Z and Beyonce were not planning to attend the premiere. However, they appeared to have a change of heart after the lawsuit. Beyonce forced Jay Z to go to the premiere last night, an insider told DailyMail.com. They are working with a crisis specialist who is advising them on how to handle this. Beyonce believes the best way is to face it head on, and that's what they did. Disney, though, had other feelings, as an insider revealed that there was hesitation on the Disney side regarding the best way to handle it, given the events from the lawsuit.
Jay Z and R. Kelly have worked together on 2 joint albums, Best of Both Worlds and Unfinished Business. They even went on tour together for the Best of Both Worlds tour, which was supposed to take place in 2002, but was pushed back to 2004 after allegations surfaced. Now, usually an artist working with another artist is not a cause for concern, but it is when the other artist is R. Kelly. So to give you some background, for more than 2 decades, chart-topping R&B singer R. Kelly had faced allegations of SA. Now, the accounts went back to the start of his career in the 1990s, with many centering on the predatory pursuit of young women. Now, in 1994, R. Kelly married Aaliyah, who was underage at the time, and Aaliyah lied about her age on the wedding certificate, listing herself as an adult. The marriage was annulled in February of 1995, but fast forward to 2002, Kelly was sued by Patrice Jones, a Chicago woman who claimed he got her pregnant when she was underage and she was forced to forego the pregnancy. Now, another woman by the name of Montina Woods also sued Kelly, alleging that he videotaped them being intimate without her knowledge. The recording was allegedly circulated on a tape sold by bootleggers under the title R. Kelly XXX. R. Kelly was later charged with 21 counts of making essay videos. He immediately denied the charges and pleaded not guilty in court. Now, during the time all of this was going on, R. Kelly was out on bail, releasing music videos, and yes, going on tour with Jay Z. Jay Z knew what was happening, was aware of the accusations, and still decided to continue not only his professional relationship with Kelly, but also his personal. Now, they stayed close friends, and in an interview back then when it was happening, Jay Z said, "If he's guilty, I hope he gets help. If he's innocent, I hope people stand by him and apologize." That didn't age well. Now, the singer settled both cases out of court, paying undisclosed sums in return for non-disclosure agreements. Now, in 2021, R. Kelly was convicted, and in 2022, he was jailed for 30 years after being found guilty of 8 counts of racketeering and other charges in a New York court. R. Kelly was very recently sentenced to an additional 20 years, and now with this coming up, it has drawn more attention to Jay Z because many people have said Jay Z is just as predatory as R. Kelly and did to Beyonce what Kelly did to Aaliyah. The only difference is that Jay hit it better. There's demand from several people online wanting Jay Z's past to be more carefully looked at through another lens now, especially since he's at the center of a new essay lawsuit that involves Diddy. Foxy Brown, let's talk about it. It has been reported many times that Jay Z had an inappropriate relationship with Foxy Brown. They met in the mid-90s and they began collaborating on music projects. Now, she was apparently very young when they met and he was in his 20s, and in 1995 they recorded a song together that was extremely inappropriate for a young woman to be recording. It was explicit, talked about intimate acts, and just wasn't something anyone should be privy to at that age. Fast forwarding to the fall of 2024, Foxy Brown addressed relationship rumors with Jay Z in a series of Instagram story posts. So Foxy Brown attempted to debunk rumors that she and Jay Z had an intimate relationship when she was younger. Brown initially posted and addressed a screenshot of a tweet alleging Jay made her sign an NDA, among other things, calling it fake news. She wrote, "Miss me with that fake news, NDA and an MF alive could stop my story." She then posted a screenshot of a YouTube video saying she's breaking her silence about Jay Z and references one of her IG stories where she tells someone, "My story will shock you to your core. I don't play victim, but I had to step away for a minute for my sanity or I would have been gone. Stop playing with my name." She then added, "Comprehension is a lost art and y'all want me to be anti-ho so bad." Rumors of their relationship actually date back to 2001 when rapper Nas mentioned their alleged relationship on his diss song Ether. Now, jumping forward to the recent allegations against Jay Z and Diddy with the essay lawsuit from a Jane Doe, Foxy Brown appeared online again, suddenly weighing in on the accusations, sharing her Instagram stories saying, "Wow," and "Wait," with a shocked face emoji. Her third and final post was just a cold blue face emoji. Now, although Foxy has not confirmed that her posts are about Jay Z and Diddy being accused of essaying a young woman at an MTV Video Music Awards party in 2000, many people are led to believe and speculate that it is, because at this point, what else would make Foxy react online that way? Bad business practices. Was Jay Z writing bad checks? Well, in 2003, reports claim that 2 companies filed separate lawsuits against Jay Z's nightclub that was named 4040 for a total of $46,000 in unpaid bills, claiming they received rubber checks from 21's Inc., which is Jay's company. Now, One company named Ronald Mark Associates was hired to create 30 custom tables that cost him $18,000. Apparently, Jay only put $5,000 down and the company was owed the rest, being about $13,000. But Jay never paid. Ron Berkowitz, a spokesperson for the Club 4040, downplayed the allegations, claiming that the bouncing checks are a burn wrap, whatever that means. It was reported that club employees were ducking phone calls, and that lawsuit was actually settled for about $1,114.59 to be exact on November 2nd, 2003. Jay Z tried to countersue, saying the tables were not ready in time, so they weren't going to pay the full amount. Regardless, the West 25th Street nightclub 4040, which was actually named after baseball's biggest achievement, so players who hit 40 home runs and stole 40 bases in one season, survived and actually thrived. It has been a standout lounge with luxurious decor, sports memorabilia, and guests have enjoyed upscale bar cuisine and drinks. Now, unfortunately, if this has made you want to visit, think again, because after nearly 2 decades in business, in 2023, they closed its OG location. So many people actually believe that Jay Z was the reason for them closing, saying his past has come back to bite him. But apparently that's not why. And although no real reason has been given to why they closed, they actually do plan to reopen at a new location in 2025, so keep your eyes peeled for that if overpriced pub food and underpoured drinks are your thing. Now, Jay-Z's love children. Yes, aside from the 3 offspring he shares with Beyonce, let's talk about the others that are not so loved. Back in 2010, rumors circulated that Jay-Z had hooked up with an adult film star named Jasmine Cashmere. A few months later, Jasmine's friend were spreading news of a pregnancy, saying that Jay was the father. Now, Jasmine actually took to Twitter to deny the accusation, saying, "No, I am not pregnant by Jay Z or any rapper from New York." Jay Z also made a public statement as well, saying that he and Jasmine had never even crossed paths. It was supposedly a friend, however, that tipped off the news, saying that Jay had paid Jasmine $2.5 million to just disappear. The news outlet, being the National Enquirer, was able to confirm that the star, being Jasmine, bought a new house around that exact same time. And no one has bothered Jay since the alleged payout, so is that a coincidence? I think not. There was another rumor that Jay Z has another child with Trinidadian model Chanel Scott. Back in 2002, Jay and Chanel had an open relationship while she was actually seeing another man. And so it was assumed that her child was her boyfriend's, but as her son grew up, the man rejected him as his own because the boy looked nothing like him. He actually looked like Jay Z. And after a paternity test confirmed that Jay is the father, he did step up and took responsibility. He bought Chanel and his son a nice home in Trinidad, gave them $1 million. He also pays child support monthly, so that's good. And so yeah, it's safe to say Beyonce knows about this one, as we all do now. And apparently they're actually still friends who keep in contact. She said Jay is a good father, and one of Chanel's friends said, you know, it was a big ol' mess at one time, but I think once they resolved the issue of fatherhood, paternity, things started to level off. Funny enough, representatives at the time for Jay Z had actually come out and said initially, there's no truth to these ridiculous rumors. People should be ashamed of using this kind of story and exploiting a child for publicity and ratings. But wait, there's more. One of Jay Z's former friends claimed in 2022 that Jay has a secret adult daughter that resides in a home that Jay Z purchased for her in Cambridge, Maryland, and that he pays her bills but allegedly does not allow her to put pictures of him around her house as part of their deal. Her name is Letitia Macer, who is now 34 years old. Now, she came out and claimed she is Jay Z's secret daughter and shows DNA proof to support her claims. Jay Z apparently used to date her mom Lisa back in the day, and Letitia was born in the early 90s, which makes sense. Now, she was quoted saying, "I've been quiet for far too long. Join me as I tell you my story of living in the shadows of being Jay Z's daughter in a city where everyone knew he was my father. There's no way he can deny anything, especially when there were people that were there that knew him." Lisa's sister Terry even wrote a Facebook post, like a story, saying, "I know the story from start to finish. I hooked your mother and father up years ago." She said her and Lisa actually called Jay up on the phone to tell him about his daughter Letitia, and his exact exact words were, "Do you know how many women call here daily and say Jay Z the baby daddy?" Anyway, Letitia apparently spends her days posting old photos on Instagram and videos that are to convince the public that she is Jay's daughter. And so I went on to go do some digging because I wanted to see what her Instagram was all about. Firstly, let me tell you, her Instagram handle is at Jay Z's first daughter. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Like, if To The Point was a person, it would be her. Now, anyway, I didn't get far because her account is set to private, which is odd considering her goal here, so womp womp. But maybe she'll accept my request to follow, and then I'll come back and I'll let you guys know what's going on there. Now, with all the recent controversy surrounding Jay Z right now, it's reported she has more to say and doesn't plan on keeping quiet at all. Did Beyonce fake her pregnancy? When Beyonce was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, so many rumors began spreading that she faked her pregnancy with a fake belly and had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A particular video, however, went insanely viral, like literally overnight. A video of Beyonce's high-definition interview with Australia's Sunday Night HD surfaced online. This interview would have been, on record as the most boring interview of all time had it not been for the one moment at the start of the sit down when Beyonce took a seat and her bump, well, did something entirely different and kind of unnatural. So to explain, when she sits down, you can see her stomach like deflating and folding in on itself. The stills and slow-mos of the disappearing bump were circulated online as people questioned, what was happening? Now, was Beyonce wearing, different sized bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay Z, gone the surrogate route and her, defleting baby bump proved it? Or was it something else entirely that can or can't be so easily explained? Beyonce's publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, was quick with it. She shot down the conspiracy theories almost like immediately, telling E! News that, websites, blogs, and rumors suggesting that Jay Z's wife is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are simply like foolish and outlandish. Beyonce addressed it literally only once, saying that was crazy. It wasn't even hurtful, it was just crazy. Where do they come up with this stuff? Meanwhile, her mother, Tina Knowles, took the talk like very personally. She went on to say, "I thought it was very unfair and very cruel that someone would think that someone would be that diabolical to keep up a charade like that for 9 months. As a mother, it was painful for me to hear the crazy rumors, and I even had people ask me, which was so ridiculous. The only thing they could say about why it looked like her belly folded is that it must have been the fabric." One critic online pointed out that Beyonce has been so secretive about her pregnancy and that the only footage of her actually being pregnant was super grainy and like not clear at all. Some fans, came to her defense saying that there was a pic of her on the beach, in a bikini, but honestly the photo of her in the bikini, if she was pregnant, looked like she would have been about like 4 months or less. So basically people were saying, the photo doesn't actually prove that she was actually pregnant. There were just so many conspiracy theories regarding why she might be lying. Many people thought she didn't want to like ruin her figure, by being pregnant. Some people suspected maybe she couldn't have children of her own, and some thought, her and Jay were maybe adopting. However, none of this truly mattered when her daughter was actually brought into the world. Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7th, 2012. Her and Jay actually reportedly bought out the whole floor at the hospital in order to have privacy, even making people who, were already there leave. But that's another story for another time. All in all, this whole circus made Beyonce a lot more open with her second pregnancy when she had twins Rumi and Sur. Personally, I think she didn't want the same, accusations and theories to surface again, so she kind of just said, y'all ain't playing with me today. You want a bump? Here it is. Is Beyonce lying about her age? There have been several moments that have made people question whether or not Beyonce is lying about her age. Matthew Knowles, her father, continues to use his daughter's name as a means, to staying newsworthy. This time though, it's adding fuel to the fire or to the rumor mill that the superstar is actually lying about her age. In an interview with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club, Knowles, her father, says that Pink, the singer, is the exact same age as Beyonce. Pink, however, is 45 and Beyonce is, according to her, 43. Beyonce's age has been, a source of speculation for years, complete with alleged birth certificate leaks and, celebrity sources. Gabrielle Union, who is 9 years older than Beyonce, has said they were friends when they were teenagers, and apparently they even went to high school together, but the math ain't mathing there. While the difference between Pink and Beyonce are only like a measly measly 2 years, by the time you're like closing down on 50, those years, apparently seem to matter. So, fudging the numbers early on makes it a little easier to simply stop at 43 and refuse to age any further. It's as if, as a performer, you were to reach 50, you'd stop being considered for parts or shows, which, let's be honest, that isn't actually true in today's day and age, because just look at Jennifer Lopez. Like, she's in her 50s, she's still performing, headlining, you know what I mean? Or the other worry I would imagine most women up in age would be concerned about would be whether you'd be vilified for like gallivanting in a leotard or like a bodysuit, like a one piece, whatever scandalous type of outfit you might have worn in your 20s. Basically, for being confident about your body. Taylor Swift does it, it's, girl power, but if Madonna does it, it's like supposed to be shameful, So at least that's how society wants us all to view it. Beyonce has lied many times about writing her own music. Beyonce has claimed to be, the creative vision and songwriter behind some of her most successful songs, and there was no room for argument, that she was one of the most talented singer-songwriters to be a part of the music industry, and still is. But when rumors began to swirl that there were holes in the stories Beyonce told about writing her music, fans were shocked. They wondered if Beyonce truly did write all the songs she claimed to, or if she was fabricating. Now, there have been several times when songwriters or celebrities have had negative things to say and called Beyonce out in the press for taking credit for being the creative force behind her songs that have become hits. This is not to say, that the Run the World singer does not put her own spin vocally on tracks to take them places other artists could not, all while having an insane work ethic, but taking full credit for something that there was clearly a collaboration on led fans to do some digging. And when they did, they found several times when Beyonce claimed to be the sole writer or had the inspiration for a song, when that was clearly false. One person on Reddit actually rounded up like a number of examples, which include Emotions, which is actually a Bee Gees cover, Survivor, with the actual songwriter sued and settled out of court, Bow Down, which was allegedly written for Rihanna, Bootylicious, the demo was apparently near complete when, it got to Destiny's Child, and one of Beyonce's biggest songs, Irreplaceable, which apparently was actually written by Neo. Now, what's funny about that one is that Beyonce went on to say, "I'm sure people think I wrote it about Jay Z or something, but the obvious person is not the person at all." Several years later, though, Neo claimed to have penned the song himself. Had he not thought the song was too misogynistic, he explained he would have actually kept it for himself. He said, "That song taught me a very interesting lesson. Many women don't think that differently. However, a man singing it comes across a little mean." So, with many discrepancies coming up in interviews over the years when Beyonce has claimed to be the driving force behind many of her hits, it is easy to see why fans wonder how much Beyonce has written herself, what she has collaborated on, and what songs were just written for her. There's no denying the talent Beyonce has, and no one is discrediting, her vocal and performance abilities, but many fans and critics alike think that she should give all the credit, not just to herself. In fact, it's just a song that maybe she's collabed on, with one person, online even saying, unless Beyonce specifically came up with an idea for a song or contributed vocals to it, she should call herself an artist instead. Another person chimed in and said, "For some reason, we have this idea that singers have to also write their own music to be considered artists, but telling a story with your voice and entertaining people with your performance is a whole other skill set. I think at the end of the day, just give credit where it's due to avoid these type of, controversies, or stay as low-key as possible and don't extend your part." Beyonce is beautiful, there's no doubt about it, but just like most of us, there's photos she does not want the public to see. BuzzFeed posted 33 photos of Beyonce from her halftime show that she hated so much she got her publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, to email them demanding 7 of them be removed. As a public figure, Beyonce's life is constantly under scrutiny. For someone who seemingly always has everything under her control, there have been a few times she hasn't, and this was one of those times. In the email that BuzzFeed received from Beyonce's publicist, it read, "Thanks for taking my call. As discussed, there are some unflattering photos on your current feed that we are respectfully asking you to change. I am certain you will be able to find some better photos." Then she listed them as number 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 19, and 22, and ended off her email with just a simple "thank you very much." BuzzFeed said they emailed back asking for further explanation, but didn't receive a response, so they kept the photos up. The original article that BuzzFeed actually posted had 33 photos in it, and they labeled it as the 33 fiercest moments from Beyonce's halftime show. Beyonce's, 2013 Super Bowl halftime show was a showcase of female empowerment empowerment and a reunion with her former bandmates. The performance was praised by critics and became one of the most tweeted about moments of the time. Beyonce performed a medley of her hits, including Crazy in Love, Love on Top, End of Time, and Baby Boy. She was joined by her former Destiny's Child bandmates Michelle Williams and Kelly Rowland. The performance was described as frenetic and fierce. Some critics said it was proof of life and the night's true event. Her outfit, though, is what most people talked about, however, with many saying it didn't give off feminine vibes, which now makes sense as to why the photos she didn't want us all to see looked rather masculine and kind of unflattering. Many people were trying to guess, the designer, Thierry Mugler, Givenchy Couture. That's what we suspected watching Beyonce's hardcore leather and lace corset and boots outfit. Or was it just leather and lace at the Super Bowl halftime show? But no, it's in fact the work of New York designer Ruben Singer. Singer is no stranger to the world of fashion, but designing the costumes for a style icon like Beyonce to perform at one of the year's most widely viewed sporting events was a completely different situation for him. Singer had worked with the singer, songwriter, and actress over the years and presented, storyboards from his fall 2013 collection to Beyonce's stylist Raquel Smith and Ty Hunter right after Thanksgiving. The concept perfectly captured the diva's vision for her Super Bowl performance. After he received the assignment, Knowles and Singer set forth on an accelerated collaborative process in early December. The next 2 months involved no less than 5 fittings and well over 200 man-hours, with a team of 14 dedicated people to creating the final look at the designer's New York City store. 1 full week leading up to the event in daily dress rehearsals at the New Orleans Superdome was also required to make sure everything was perfect for the big night. The stage costumes are based on Singer's fall 2013 collection entitled Valkyries Dominion. Now, in Norse mythology, a Valkyrie is a female figure who decides which soldiers pass in battle and which live. Other points of inspiration come from the striking images of late 70s, early 80s Helmut Newton and the play on masculine-feminine associated with 1930s film actress Marlene Dietrich. Now, the performance's opening look, set to the hit song Crazy in Love, consisted of 2 pieces. A black leather cropped motorcycle jacket with exaggerated shoulders and an asymmetrical collar with dramatic wing cuffs were paired with a micro-mini asymmetrical wrap skirt in liquid nylon, made of nylon, metal, silk, and plastic that Singer exclusively created for her. Later in the performance, after removing the motorcycle jacket, Knowles wore a black leather bodysuit reminiscent of warrior armor. Stripes of engineered python, paneled iguana, and trampunto pick stitch leather were sewn together in contrast to the, flounce skirt and insets of delicate black chantilly lace in areas where skin can be seen. This item proved to be incredibly challenging, as it sounds, and as it is not only needed to be dramatic, but also had to withstand the, rigorous dance moves required for the performance. Singer said, "This piece is truly couture in every way." While describing the process, he said, "My seamstresses were assembling all of the leather and exotic skins individually by hand. All of the pieces were separate details that were all constructed for her body and on her body. We had to make the bodysuit have a tremendous range of motion and flexibility." Beyonce is such a fierce and intense performer, so we could not, have the outfit constrict her in any way, which I totally get. In addition to Beyonce's costumes, Singer created the costume for former Destiny's Child bandmate Michelle Williams, as well as the jackets for the show's 120 backup dancers. Singer presented, his fall-winter 2013 collection during New York City's Fashion Week that year. Now, BuzzFeed presented, the look in a series of photos highlighting each striking pose she did, each facial expression that she made, and, contrary to the public's opinion, and Beyonce's opinion too, BuzzFeed said that every single photo looked fierce, strong, and beautiful. One person on social media said, "If I were a celebrity on the outside, I'd be like, haha, those pics are so funny, guys, I look crazy." But on the inside, I'd be like, if I see this picture one more time, I'm gonna lose it. People are making fun of me because I was dancing my behind off for my performance. I trained so hard for this, I'm gonna flip. Oh my God, delete the internet, I hate everyone. Another person on Twitter said, my dad once posted a photo on Facebook of me mid-blink eating a chocolate. I would have straight up unalived my dad before letting, that stay online, so I don't blame her. Another person provided, a different perspective, saying, those are obviously unflattering pics, but she served an amazing and powerful performance with all that energy. One could expect those kind of gestures. It's sad that she desperately wanted to erase them, but on the other hand, I know how cruel some people can be on the internet making memes and stuff. Fast forward now to the most recent halftime show, which many say Beyonce arguably delivered one of the greatest halftime shows in NFL history, and it wasn't even the Super Bowl. The 43-year-old pop star took the field midway through the Christmas game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans to perform first-time live renditions of several hit tracks off her latest Grammy-nominated album, Cowboy Carter. As to be expected, there appeared to be several Easter eggs and hidden messages embedded not only within her show-stopping performance, but also within pre- and post-show, promotional content. While Queen Bee, was famously joined by her eldest daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, Post Malone, and Shaboozey during the performance, there were several lesser known but still notable figures that took the stage beside her too. In her pre-recorded intro, she sang her version of Blackbird by the Beatles alongside fellow Black country stars, Raina Roberts, Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, and Tiara Kennedy, who also are actually featured on the track. At various moments throughout the show, Beyonce also showcased several groundbreaking, country icons, including Mexican cowgirl Melanie Rivera, pioneering bull rider Meredith Stiteman Jr., Miss Rodeo Texas Princess 2004, and Miss Rodeo Texas 2015, Nikki Woodward, and the first Black rodeo queen in Arkansas, Jediah Kirsch. Now, meanwhile, a caravan carrying Houston Texans owner Cal McNair and his wife Hannah rode onto the field as Beyonce sang her cover of Dolly Parton's Jolene. The Texans cheerleaders fittingly made up part of her backup dancing ensemble, in addition to nearly 200 members of Texas Southern University's Ocean of Soul marching band. During her pre-recorded intro of 16 Carriages, Beyonce could be seen passing by exactly 16 Cadillacs as she rode through the stadium's, tunnels on a white horse. When it came time for Post Malone's, guest appearance for their song, the two actually duetted, while leaning against a pickup truck appropriately covered all in denim. Now, all of the photos that were taken, Beyonce definitely approved of this time. She made sure that no one was gonna play with her, this go around. And you could tell she didn't make any strong facial expressions or movements that would look unflattering in photos. In 2016, Beyonce faced backlash for her music video Formation, which featured African-American cultural symbols and imagery. Critics accused Beyonce of profiting from Black culture without properly understanding or respecting its history and significance. For example, writer and activist Rachel Kadizi Gonse, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, wrote an essay criticizing Beyonce for her use of African-American cultural symbols, stating, Beyonce's Formation is a masterclass in how to take Black cultural production and turn it into a product that can be sold to white people. Another notable instance is also seen in the music video Hymns for the Weekend by Beyonce and Coldplay. Although it is a great and catchy song to many, we have seen multiple scenes in the music video of culture being used as entertainment and accessories. In the video, we see Hindu temples, Indian people, Indian civilization, meditation being done, festivals celebrated, and a Hindu god. The music video overall has a variety of positive Indian culture shown, but what makes this music video debatable is the fact that Beyonce is using the Indian clothes as accessories, even though she is not Indian herself. What could have had, this music video be less debatable is if Coldplay collaborated with an Indian singer who knows about her culture and the clothing she was wearing. If this Indian singer would have replaced Beyonce, then she would have known that hennas are not from Indian culture. This already provides, a lack of knowledge that the artist has on the culture itself, which can be seen as disrespectful to many, especially in the Indian culture. As said before, Indians have a strong, respected foundation for their ancestors and their heritage. In the video, the person who is grabbing all of the attention from the viewers is Beyonce herself. There are Indian women there that could have stolen the spotlight, but we see how this cultural appropriation comes into the picture when Beyonce uses the best jewelry and clothing for the public, just as how the Kardashian uses, black culture to show themselves off, but that's a topic for another time. Next, feminism and hypocrisy. Beyonce has been accused of hypocrisy for her feminist stance, with some critics arguing that her music and performances often objectify women and perpetuate patriarchal values. For instance, in 2013, Beyonce performed at the Super Bowl halftime show where she sang and danced in a very revealing costume, sparking criticism from some feminists who argued that her performance was contradictory to her feminist ideals. Writer and feminist Bell Hooks criticized Beyonce for her feminist stance, stating, "Beyonce's feminism is not about ending patriarchy. It's about getting a bigger piece of the pie." Bell Hooks criticized Beyonce's feminism and image, arguing that, while she uses her platform to discuss black female pain, her approach is narrow and simplistic, focusing on gaining power within existing structures rather than actually dismantling them, and that her image can be seen as perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Some people did come to Beyonce's defense, and one person on social media said, "I felt like she was criticizing Beyonce because her preferred method of self-expression in Lemonade didn't actually jive with Hook's idea of what feminism is." Another person said, "How can she determine whether or not one's method of healing is inadequate? It's Beyonce's narrative. She can resolve it how she wishes. I see it as another version of Piers Morgan's, issues with the album, which I interpreted as, I'd like it better if you expressed yourself in a way that is more my taste." It's almost as if she's implying the only feminist way of moving beyond the hurt and betrayal is if Beyonce were to divorce or abandon her husband. Now, in my opinion, I think Bell Hooks had some very fair points, but I also think she criticized Beyonce so much because that's what sold her books. She has gone on record saying, though, she recognizes that she can be critical of Beyonce, yet also does appreciate aspects of her power and representation. Beyonce has faced criticism for her involvement in the Black Lives Matter movement and her position with activism, with some critics arguing that her activism is superficial and self-serving. In 2016, Beyonce performed at the BET Awards where she and her dancers wore Black Panther-inspired costumes, sparking criticism from some activists who argued that her performance was a form of cultural appropriation and that she was using the movement for her own gain. Beyonce's dancers wore black leather, afros, and berets, which some saw as a direct reference to the Black Panther Party, which was a 1960s black nationalist organization known for its revolutionary stance and focus on community empowerment and self-defense. The song Formation, released before the Super Bowl, was seen as a powerful anthem about black identity, resilience, and resistance, further fueling the perception of the performance as a political statement. Many conservatives, law enforcement organizations, and social media users criticized the performance and the song, viewing them as anti-police, anti-American, and anti-white, particularly due to references to police executions of unarmed black men and the song's overall tone of defiance. The performance and the song generated a very strong backlash, with some calling for a boycott of Beyonce and others defending her right to express her views and celebrate her heritage. Activist and writer Kevin Powell criticized Beyonce for her activism, stating, "Beyonce's version of activism is more about branding and marketing than actual movement building." Her personal life and relationships. Beyonce's personal life and relationships have also been subject to criticism and scrutiny, of course. In 2014, Beyonce's sister Solange Knowles physically attacked Jay Z in an elevator, sparking criticism and speculation about the state of their marriage. Some critics have also accused Beyonce of using her personal life and relationships as just a marketing tool, with some arguing that her music and performances often kind of blur the lines between, her personal and public life. In this day and age, so many scandals come and go with the wind. Very few have real staying power in the microwave nature of social media. However, Elevator Gate happened at a time when everything was magnified, and this drama remained the subject of conversations and memes for weeks and months and years leading up to the release actually of her album Lemonade, which dropped in April of 2016. One song on the album, Sorry, was particularly casting light of what we knew about the tension between Beyonce, Jay Z, and Solange. It was widely speculated that the elevator fight was actually down to Solange confronting Jay about about his alleged cheating, and sorry only fueled the rumors to a very stunning degree. Beyonce sings in the outro, coining an iconic pop culture term: "He only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." But for years, and to this day, who is Becky with the good hair? It must surely be one of the most Google searches like ever. Various female celebrities found themselves subjected to rumors that they could be Jay Z's mistress, with Rihanna being a rumor, Rita Ora and Rachel Roy among those who were at the center of this speculation. However, most denied it and distanced themselves from the scandal, leaving the identity of Becky a mystery to this day. According to an insider, Becky actually doesn't really exist, and Becky was just a combination of women. Music industry politics and controversy. Beyonce has faced criticism for her music industry politics and controversies, with some critics arguing that she has used her power and influence to sabotage other artists and further her own career. Back in 2014, Beyonce faced backlash for her surprise album release, which some argued was a deliberate attempt to overshadow other artists and dominate the music industry. Some critics have also accused Beyonce of using her connections in the music industry and influence to silence critics and suppress dissent. Now, for example, in 2016, Beyonce's team was accused of trying to silence critics who were speaking out against her music and performances. Beyonce's venture into country music, particularly her recent album Cowboy Carter, her album and performances sparked such a debate about her, countryness and whether a pop star could authentically cross into that genre. Some country radio stations initially refused to even play Beyonce's country songs, citing that they were just not country enough, which raised questions about systemic exclusion of Black artists in country music. That's not the only album, though, that received a ton of criticism. Her Renaissance album did as well. Singer Robin Stone found out that her 90s house hit Show Me Love was sampled on Break My Soul, the lead single from Beyonce's album Renaissance, and at the same time as everyone else, she found that out. As the performer rather, than the writer and producer of the song, her approval wasn't actually required to clear its use, nor does she receive any income from it. So while Stone sees the nod as a compliment and proof of, her 30-year relevancy, it also brings up old wounds. The writers of the song, Alan George and Fred McFarlane, never gave her proper credit. She said, "That first note is mine. The ad-libs are all mine. I added flavor to it. They've been eating at my table, and I've been feeding their families for well over 30 years. Stone isn't the only artist, though, startled by the use of their music on Renaissance. Beyonce removed an interpolation, a kind of sampling that sees song excerpts, re-recorded and often reworked. That comes from Khaleesi's 2003 hit Milkshake from the song Energy, after the latter publicly criticized Beyonce for not having the common decency just to let her know that she was using it. As Khaleesi explained, the situation rehashed an alleged dispute with the track's credited songwriters Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo of the Neptunes, who she claims swindled her out of publishing rights for the two albums they made together. The discourse around Renaissance has opened up questions about the politics of sampling in modern pop. Today, sampling is a huge business. In the credits for the 16-track on Renaissance, there are nods to 17 other songs. Beyonce has tried pretty hard lately to stay out of the spotlight, and so aside from her recent country album Grammy win, not much new has happened to keep her on this hate train, but haters are gonna hate, right?